All right, everybody, this is Thrice with North American Sustainable Farms, and we are doing a guest interview on the 432 show with Lucci, the show host, and he's going to go ahead, get his show started, and we're going to be being questioned and grilled about what's going on, what are we doing. So super excited. I'm actually kind of geeking out because this is going to be the first interview about everything going on, and this is a buddy and associate of mine, and I couldn't be more happy that this is the first interview. So, Lucci, thank you for letting me do that little thing for us on the live stream, and you can go ahead anytime you want.
Hey, welcome to the 432 show with our guest Thrice from North American Sustainable Farms, N.A.S.F. How are you, Thrice?
Pretty good. It's been a long day. I just started attempting live streaming, so that's a really interesting thing to attempt. How are you doing?
I hear that. Good. So we are simultaneously streaming live through Thrice's end as we record our episode. Very interesting.
The technology.
So what is, brother, the North American Sustainable Farms?
It's kind of a complex question, but to start it off, the simplest way to put it is it's a organization focused on creating a more sustainable practice of agriculture. And that's done through various campaigns. One of the biggest ones that I think we'll probably talk about today that I've actually got up on the live stream is indoor community farm centers. And, I'll be sharing that with you here in a bit when we talk about it. And I've got some 3D model layouts for that. Shows a hydroponic aquaponic system and just how we can guerrilla style go into old retail buildings and just completely change them out, start growing food. And that's only one part of it. And that's what I mean, sustainable agriculture, reusing a space or utilizing a space temporarily that's not doing anything but costing people money and hurting the local economy. You know what I mean? So again, what is North American Sustainable Farms? It's anything that we can do as a community to change the face of agriculture for a better future. It's the best way I can put it.
Nice. Excellent. Yeah, we've kind of talked in the past quite extensively, actually, about some of the projects. And I know some of the projects pertain to poultry.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about how you're going to be working with that angle of it.
Actually, I have a kind of custom design system that I've been working on, practicing, and working to implement. There's been a lot of trial and error. There's been a lot of me getting discouraged, dealing with failures and acknowledging failures are only ways that you don't do things, which is something I would just learn today from a really good person I met. But it's basically the concept of the chicken poultry system is utilizing a few things. One of those is naturally grown fodder, which can be grasses, herbs, a variety of greens, even like legumes. Legumes are really good for chickens. Different kinds of legumes. There can be an argument about that. But generally, then you have, besides the fodder, you can also do composting system where you have not only composted food, but composted plant matter, such as the grasses and fodder. Along with manure, actually. Horse manure, cow manure, goat manure, all of those types of manure can be utilized to create a hotbed for insects and beneficial bacteria. And what we don't realize is both ducks and chickens actually, they're not only eating things that we can see, they also do eat dirt in order to get beneficial bacteria. Ducks themselves actually, they filter through dirt and debris in order to get bacteria and small insects. Like there's more to it when it comes down to their eating level and like what they're actually consuming. It's pretty fascinating, and we're still discovering it. We're very much at a baby step frontier. Like I don't know how to say it, but we're at a very new area, a new point in existence where we have a chance to kind of step away from technology and look at nature and use some of the technology to help us better understand what we're looking at with nature and allow us to learn how we can help nature along, which is food. Food comes from nature. I'm not a proponent for artificial food. I just have a really bad feeling in my gut that is not going to be healthy for people. There's an old saying, fake food makes fake people. We're already facing it. Most of our food is not really real anymore. It's not what we've been eating for hundreds of thousands of years. There's controversial archaeological evidence that we've been around for millions of years, and the fact that that even exists we should question this new advent of food technology. And so with the poultry stuff, the goal is to utilize these practices of sustainable natural food sources, like the compost with the bugs and the natural beneficial bacteria from either doing fermented grains, fermented fodder, or fermented fruits and vegetables. Like, fermenting things
Right.
is a fascinating thing in itself, and I feel like if we started feeding a lot of that to poultry, that's something they're going to be getting naturally. Is they would be foraging fermented fallen fruit and vegetables that have spoiled so other animals aren't eating it and there's insects in it. That's a natural product of their environment, and we just completely eliminate it from them. And I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective of, maybe if we provide these natural food sources in a contained pasture rotating system, then we can actually mitigate the amount of space that you need to raise poultry for either eggs or meat production. And also, it makes it so you can produce more in a smaller space. You can use it as a controlled pasture and free ranging method. You can even set it up where you have different pasture staging areas. There's all different sorts of ways that you can utilize this compost, fodder, bug, fermentation, and composted waste. I mean, I guess I said compost, but when I say compost, I mean compost manure, composted plant matter. It's really two different things. The chickens can eat a lot of composted plant matter. They're not going to eat the composted manure. What's in the manure is what the food is. So I just want to clarify that. But see, I can go on just continuously. With the poultry stuff, that was one of my first passions along with mushrooms. And I really have specific kind of like guerrilla tactics that I want to do in order to implement these systems and really get them going to produce free food. That's the overall goal. Is sustainable agriculture, to me, is food that doesn't have a dollar amount. There's no value. It's invaluable, because food is like water. I think it's a common right. I think that the fact that most people nowadays probably, I mean, I don't know the statistical numbers, but if you think about it, more people live in food deserts and in areas where they're not even allowed to grow a garden in their front yard than don't, from just what you would think. And I know that's kind of a broad statement. I'll make sure to get statistics on that so I can use that in the future. But yeah, and so with the poultry thing, it's really about minimizing cost, utilizing natural food sources, and producing a controlled environment that gives an abundance of production. So then we're allowed to cut the price down for certain people or give them free food, and then those who can afford it can pay the standard market rate. And that one creates it so we're not just coming in, undercutting everybody else, and creating a huge wake in the poultry market in the areas we're producing poultry. No, it creates a kind of tier system. So we're still keeping the market value. We may cut $1 or $2 off just to be competitive, but we're not. Our goal isn't to disrupt economics. Our goal is to feed people for free, because there's plenty of people who need organic, clean food, whether it's certified or not, to think clear, to be able to function as a human being. And meat for me, like there's an old saying that chicken in every pot in every house. I'm a huge advocate for that, because also a chicken in every backyard laying eggs for everybody. I think one female chicken, every family should have one, and it sucks that in some cities and towns you're not even allowed to have one hen. They don't go "Arr, arr, arr." They don't make a bunch of noise. You can clip their wings and keep them in a 4-foot fence. Like, it's just, we need to wake up. So that's, I can go off on poultry. I can go off on all this stuff, though. You know that.
What I was interested in hearing too was how you were very involved, conscious with how they lived.
And that goes back to their natural eating styles and getting them in a proper system that they're...
Well, and free ranging.
Yeah, well, and that's why the pasture rotating system, the whole point of that is to emulate free ranging for those who cannot do it all the time. And because of that concept is you get a lot of people who just quit. They just say, oh, I can't do the free range. I can't do the sustainability. It's too much. Well, we've got to find ways to cut corners right now because of where we are generationally. I mean, we're in a hodgepodge of communication from people from 80 years old all the way down to 10-year-olds right now. We have to understand that. This is almost a new generation in itself. So you can't judge people for not always being able to free range their birds. So if we can start teaching people how to pasture rotate and to get like compost. So a compost pile mixed properly with different kinds of matters, plant matters, wood chips, as well as manure, if you do like, I'm trying to show my hands, like 2 feet or more, and you go like, this is the space, a square foot of that, or a square 2 feet of that, and then you got 3 feet. If you got a full square of that, I mean, that's what a chicken can dig into. So you're going all the way down through all that matter. There could be bugs, and there is bugs. I've personally gone in and dug into manure piles. I've personally tested out composting, rotting logs, and tracked the rate of how many bugs. The problem is I haven't written all this stuff down, and that's something I'm really working on. Was why I've got the live stream stuff, is so I can really start to obligate myself to doing these things a little more and having a community that helps motivate me and is like, hey man, we're here to see this. Why haven't you done this yet? And it's like, I got to do this, and because I know there's those out there who want to do stuff like this and may not have the time or are doing the same kind of life, enjoy the ideas, and want to help me get through this so we can make it happen. Because that's it. Community's everything.
And that's part of what the North American Sustainable Farms is. One of their goals is to encompass in what some of the other farmers are doing and bring them into the. Well, explain that, how that might work.
Yeah, we definitely.
What kind of relationship will they have?
Well, the biggest thing is our goal is we're sole proprietorship right now. We want to become a family-run LLC, and that includes some, friends more or less who are family friends slash business associates who are already working on different projects together, and people who want to farm with us. And so that is where we're going, is the LLC concept. And with that, we're not going to be a nonprofit. We're not an educational center in the nonprofit standard, the common standard. We're going to be a for-profit educational place that also produces farming products, and that's going to be through other farms as well. It's not going to be us coming in like trying to be a monopoly and big brother and doing all the old ways. No, this is going to be something where we're just facilitating things. We're promoting their brands. We're helping them. I mean, I really would love to create networks on many different levels when it comes to people coming to assist with programs or with just farm projects, ranch projects, and making money off it, but having some type of credential system so that way we have a rating or some type of communication as far as their backstory and who they are. Transparency, but also having a network when it comes down to who grows your food, where does your food come from, how many farms are in your area, so when you try to think, oh, I'll just go to the grocery store because I don't even know how to get food from farms, or where to go to get them. Well, here you go. Here is your local suppliers, and this is how you get in contact with them, or this is how you go about purchasing their food. This is where they sell their food. Like, all that implementation is not in place because we have this big battle between people who have a lot of money and people who have a little bit of money. So if the people with a little bit of money take their little bit of money and pool it together, then all of a sudden there's more of us than there is of them. And it's like you can't compete with the 2% most wealthiest people in the world. But you can make an impact. You can make a difference if you work together as a community and come to a decision that this is what you're doing. So that's why we're laying down the foundation, saying this is what the campaigns are. This is the first campaign we're starting with, is an indoor community farm center, doing the poultry stuff, doing the mushroom stuff, growing different herbs and spices, gathering wild craft stuff and selling that, doing resale store stuff, merchandise stuff. All of that are different ways to build income for profit. But when it comes down to the community getting involved, contributing to a cause, contributing to a campaign, and building community contributed agriculture, it is through this indoor community farm center. Like, that is we want to build one first, of course, start with one. We have some places that we're looking at in McChesney Park.
Right, before you touch on that, I want to interject that that's where I find the similarity behind possibly what North American Sustainable Farms is doing in what you just shared, similar to the 432 show, where people can get together and have a chance to share their message with an audience and kind of similar. Some smaller farmers can get involved with the North American Sustainable Farms and become into a network support marketing system, just almost like a family. I think you've mentioned that before, like
Yes,
joining the family.
joining the family.
And you know that's that speaks for itself. But then
Thank you.
I'm going to let you continue, because that is the one of the very interesting things that the North American Sustainable Farms is in the works. And already, wait till you see how much planning has gone into this indoor farm. So let you continue. And yeah, I'm very excited to hear more about this indoor farm concept. And you have some diagrams and multimedia presentation to show us too.
Yeah, I don't have any diagrams right now, but I do have an image slideshow on our webpage at N.A.S.F.life backslash I. Oh my gosh, I always do this. Indoor Community Farm Centers, ICFCS. So it's NASF.life backslash ICSCF. ICFCS. Gosh.
Don't
Anyways,
worry about it.
go to the
Just go to
campaign page. Yeah.
NASF.life. It's a great website. It's very easy to
Thank
navigate.
you.
I've been in it. Um,
Thank you.
and yeah, no, I really do like it. And I think it's fun to just roam around and jump around in it anyway and check it all out.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to have some information on it right now and kind of just leading into what we're doing. At this point, we're really kind of gathering inventory. We've been working on gathering wildcraft stuff, herbs, mushrooms. Like I have over 20 different mushroom varieties, native wild mushroom varieties that I've identified in the last 6 months. And then I've collected tissue samples, spores, or spore prints, which are the seeds from mushrooms. So those are going to be things that we've been packaging and we're going to be packaging more of and getting those online in our resale store that are going to be products from the farm directly. So that's definitely, I kind of lost my train of thought here. But going back to what you're saying about the family stuff is that's definitely the goal of all this. And we have different ways of funding it. But the real goal is to create a family network. And even in our contributions, our contribution breakdown, which is on the website as well, on the contribution page, it discusses that after we get a certain amount of contributions, which is like $8,000 to $10,000, it's for multiple vehicles for the farm organization, so we can travel and be able to operate out of different locations, because we do have multiple people right now who want us to access their land and develop different farming projects on their land, such as market gardening, or doing the poultry methods, or growing mushrooms. We've had opportunity for that. The issue right now is, as an organization, as ourselves, a family, we don't have the proper transportation to keep grinding. The vehicle we have is completely crapping out. There's a lot of things that have just hit in our life that it's been a struggle. We've been doing this for 5 years, and we're just working towards trying to get a sustainable living situation, which we have a bus right now that we're kind of on negotiations right now, may end up actually losing it, but we're working hard to still be able to keep it. There's some issues with that as far as where it's located, and I'm not going to go into that. But there's just been things like that happen, where one thing after another. It's that year where the car's failing. We've had issues with different job switching, thinking we had a certain financial income that was going to work out because of location and where we were at, and then realizing there is no possibility for financial income. People don't even want you to do that. It was a complete miscommunication, even though you were 100% being transparent and you have stuff online that says who you are and what you're doing. But it just doesn't matter. Like, you have to just keep moving forward. And so we're at that point where it's just, we're moving, we're grinding. And so we want to, in the contributions, we're asking for stuff to help us grow as an organization. But after we hit that mark for those vehicles, we're switching it down to a percentage evaluation, where we're actually going to take 10% of every dollar contributed, and we're going to put that towards sponsoring a local farmer. So what that means is, in the areas we're at, we are going to look for those who have a certain list of qualifications, not so much credentials, but just, I guess a resume more or less, and not so much in the work sense, but people around them. People can vouch for them, a community and family, saying this person wants to farm. Even if they say the person's, a drug addict, or they've got certain social issues, or they've never been able to fully hold a job. If we have more than 2 or 3 people say they're so passionate about farming and they don't stop talking about the Latin names of this, and that, or they're obsessed with all these YouTube people who are just farming and agriculture, and they're like under probably 25 is generally those kind of people who are having problems finding themselves, we're still going to invest in them. Like, we're not going to turn those people away. We may not give them $10,000, off the bat if that's our pool we have for that sponsorship, but we'll set them up with a system of, okay, how much do you need a month to survive? How much do you need a month to not stress and feel like you're an economic slave constantly stuck? And your own family, God bless everybody around you, they can't help you because we're all doing it. We're all hand over mouth and constantly fighting to just keep up with what's going on around us, especially with all this information now. So that's why the family is so important to us. We have fought hard to keep our family
start
together.
Growing more food,
Exactly.
well more food than they'll ever need, and then they share on, and that becomes a whole system.
And that's the thing. I can't even create that system yet. The system is before me, and all I want to do is show people that it's there. Because it's up to everybody out there who's watching this right now to say, this is something I want to see happen, and you're going to help create the system. Everybody out there is going to help create this system, not me. I'm just simply going like this. I'm pushing a rock down a hill, and it's up to everybody else to see that rock and help guide it where it needs to go. That's it. Like, I cannot control what's going to happen next. It's up to every individual to say, I want this to happen, and to make it happen. And that's what I'm doing. I'm saying I want this to happen, and I'm going to make it happen, by golly. If I end up, just, I don't know. I'm just, at this point, I'm not stopping. I don't want to go through a whole laundry list of what I'll take on as far as face me life, because I don't. I pray every day, and I ask every day for life to please see that this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and just give me the opportunities to keep moving in this direction, because it's already given me the opportunities. It's just also given me a lot of obstacles, and a lot of failures, and I'm willing to accept that, embrace that. But I've also had a lot of successes. I have a Cornish hen, and knock on wood and bless her soul that nothing happens to her soon, but she is over a year old now, and everybody says that they get heart attacks around 9 months.
Huh.
So, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, like, everything is perception and knowledge. And if you're uneducated, if you've been misinformed, then there's something to learn. And I feel like agriculture, there's so much misinformation. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about the dollar, and about keeping a certain industry going that is not about farmers. It's not about sustainability, and it's not about our health. That's the biggest thing that concerns me, is it's not about our health, and it scares the crap out of me. I don't care what conspiracy theories anybody wants to have about who's in control of all of it or why they're doing it. You're in control of what you put in your mouth, and that's been the hardest lesson for me to learn. I'm not going to say I have not had a hard time with that lesson. I'm still going through that because I have to eat a specific diet. It drives me mad. And if I eat a little bit too much rice or a little bit too much carbohydrates, I'm completely screwed. And it's like, what the hell? It was so cool. The other day, I learned somebody else had a carbohydrate intolerance. And I don't mean to just, I'm like rambling on and on. I feel like I'm going a mile a minute. It's been a day, man. And I'm excited to just, be talking about this and getting this going.
Finding the ways to stay positive is really what it's all about. And I've seen that over and over with you. Because what it really is about too is staying in tune. It's about vibration, and maybe one day down the road we'll get a little bit more deep into it. I just want to kind of stay a little bit surface with everybody so they can understand what your goals are. And well, even the vibration and being in tune with the plants, and we could get lost in talking about some of that.
Yeah, and when we say vibration, the biggest thing is electromagnetics, I think, is always what I like to say and reinforce. Is people say vibration, it's kind of a slang term for electromagnetics, which is quantum energy everywhere, and how it all entangles with itself on that quantum level. So definitely, and just saying that right there shows those kind of conversations, they go on for hours, it's life itself, and that's what got me into this. those kind of conversations is what led me to this. I started getting sick. I used to drink all the time, and I ate really bad. I used to just pile food into my body and just stuff as much as I could while drinking, and just almost like trying to kill yourself, basically. Like I mean, I've been working really hard with depression, and I feel like I'm finally at a point where I know who I am, and I see this journey, and I've been working at it for 5 years now, and I've been like, okay, this is the chapter of my life where I know this is going to be a struggle, but it's going to happen. I'm not going to stop. Like, I will, again, let's not be dramatic, but I'm not going to stop.
I think everyone has got a pretty good sense of your passion.
Yeah.
Okay, after a little technical difficulty, we are back on the line. Thrice was about to show us this really incredible, like, computer simulation model of this indoor farm center. Do you have that up?
Yeah, actually, I'll pull it up in a second here. Basically, I just want to talk a little bit about it. So this is a it's a campaign slash project. It's a part of our organization that we want to continue to have in the future, but it is our first campaign as well, and it's called Indoor Community Farm Centers. And what that is it's literally a place that utilizes old retail spaces, old warehouses. I mean, our goal is to utilize any buildings or lot spaces in the future as a farm. But these indoor community farm centers are really focused on retail spaces that have been sitting, that are affecting the local economy, or just affecting investors or local municipalities because they've incurred that cost and they're not able to put people in the building. So we want to come along and do this kind of guerrilla style farming where we clean it out. We'd love to put skylights in most of the buildings to produce extra sunlight, but really go in with the proper lighting, an aquaponic hydroponic system, using aeroponics as well with a tower system, and completely producing specialty crops in small spaces, in indoor small spaces. Now, this isn't going to be a cure-all for the food epidemic, that we have right now, but it will help push forward with a certain concept to produce specific foods that at least keep people healthy. It produces those common greens. You can produce strawberries, even squash, different kinds of melons and vining things, beans. It's just there's a variety of things that you can grow, especially if you grow crop specific and do a gilding system where you're only doing certain crops, like 3 to 5 crops in a system where they're working together and they have their own space to really flourish. So, but again, these indoor community farm centers are not just for farms, they're community centers. So it's meant to be a place that you can go purchase food, purchase locally grown items from different farms, as well as go and attend classes or workshops as a student of a local education center, or as an adult, just person in the community, or bring your family. Like, we want to have all of those things going on, and really help educate the community as far as what sustainable agriculture means to us. And also, again, utilize these retail spaces that are just going to waste. So I'll go ahead, I'm going to pull up here and share this screen with you that I got going on, and we'll walk through. This is actually going to be the Indoor Community Farm Center page, and on that you got the slideshow at top, and we'll go through those pictures. But yeah, it just goes down and you can read a little more details as far as what they are, and then you can find out about how to contribute. We've actually already raised $315 in contributions, so that's really cool, since we really haven't even been on any interviews. This is the first interview, so really excited about that. Yeah, this is really the first week.
That up.
Yes, actually this page wasn't even on the website last week, or a week ago. So, but here I'm gonna go ahead and click into these pictures here and kind of just walk through. So this is an indoor look from the receiving bay area, and that would be where we receive, we want to call it certified compost. That means we're going to have a specific system where we can actually test and have a certain system of processing, so we know that the composted food or composted items we're receiving are clean enough and are not tampered with. So we will actually be, in the long run, setting up a system where everybody has to be a part of the system in order for us to receive their waste. So we have them verified, basically. So there's no stranger coming in just dumping waste, because this is our food we're talking about, and we want to take it very serious. But that's a future thing. And for now, immediately at all our indoor farm centers, we will be taking in waste and we will be using it in compost systems to create soil. and to create bugs that can then feed chickens, which is a totally clean way of processing most chemical and waste matter. But it will be more or less something that's used on a more personal side. It won't be used as like a mainstream feed. So again, we're gonna wait until we push the bugs and the compost waste to the mainstream to go back in the food and back in items that our customers are consuming. But we still will be collecting waste and processing it. So that's where you're sitting at right now, is that waste processing area. And then to your right, you kind of see these bins next to the trash cans. That's actually going to be a bug harvesting area, which is going to be also a bug production area. So we're two bugs that we're going to use for aquaponic feed is going to be black soldier fly larvae as well as red worms. And we're not sure what exact species of red worm, but we'll be working on figuring that out. And they'll be consuming the certified composted waste. And in the beginning, what we will do is we'll work with certified organic farms, or at least farms who have a social and business obligation to not give us poisoned food, because that gives us more of a security and a safety where we're not taking on that obligation. We'll take that waste and we will be feeding that to the insects starting off in every indoor farm center. So that is a way that we will be utilizing waste. But again, down the line, we'll have that open to community members where they can sign up for a program where we've tested their stuff. They're signed a I don't know if it would be an affidavit or a liability waiver saying I certified I'm not poisoning this stuff, and I take responsibility. So again, we take it very serious because everything we're doing is a closed loop system. It's a natural system, and we have to pay attention to what's going into it, because if you don't control what's going into it, then that's where you run into those issues where you can't say this is 100% pure food, and we have that all over the place in our society right now. So this is a pan over a little bit. There's a processing table, and you get to see the bins. I don't know if can you see the mouse on your screen there?
Yeah.
Okay, so these bins right here are what I'm talking about as far as for the worms and soldier flies. You have some leaching pipe here that goes into some bucket system for draining any fluid that comes out of there. That fluid can be combined with the aquaponic water, which these are the aquaponic fish ponds right here, to actually create a more nutrient dense hydroponic solution and aeroponic solution to help with the growth of the plants. So that's what those collection systems are for. And the trash cans, as you see scattered throughout the place, are really just because we want to be conscious of waste collection and have individual cans designated to specific waste collection and specific tasks. Right here, though, in front of these bins, you see these are actually two. It's a little hard to see from this picture, but it's two different dehydration compartments. And what that will serve as is a way for us to take not only some of the food waste that we can dehydrate and then crumble up to feed to the fish, but also we'll take the insects, so the black soldier fly larvae and the worms, and we will dehydrate them. Actually, let me take that back. The worms we may not dehydrate. That's still something we need to test out, because from what I've heard, worms dehydrated are not really doable because of the water consistency, or it's not worth it. It's better to just give them the full worm, unhydrated and alive. But the black soldier flies, we can definitely dehydrate that and they store better. And we can have that as a consistent building of fish food over time, which also can serve as chicken food. And with this being a closed system, we know exactly what those bugs are eating, and we'd be able to prove that it is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a safe and sustainable product for chicken feed, because that's a big issue with bugs and local ag government is you can't really use bugs commercially yet. It's very touch and go in a lot of places in the U.S. But anyways, again, this is the dehydrators, and that's what that's the purpose those will serve. And again, so you have the aquaponic system and then the bug system right next to it. So it's really a closed system right next to each other. So the food is produced right next to the fish. So you don't really have to go far. Saving space, saving energy, being sustainable. That's what it's all about. So and then
when you present this to potential investors or someone who might own a facility like this, or municipality, boards of directors or decision makers, you have an actual virtual tour, don't you?
We're actually,
of that, where like you actually walk them through it like a video game?
I mean, technically, that's what this rendering is, like this model, these pictures from
Right,
this
they're like
model design is.
screenshots.
Yeah, these are basically screenshots, photographs within the actual virtual world itself. Some are from the character's perspective, and some of them are from like a drone perspective, so to say. There's no drone programmed in, but it's like an aerial float around.
Right.
And that's why I have the
Yeah,
whole
you
wall
shared it
section
with
missing.
me, and that's what I'm saying. When anyone interested in seeing that, or considering uh, putting this into existence in a building they have in mind, um, get in touch with Thrice. They'll walk you through that whole model.
Yeah, and I'm working on getting a video together that's just a full walkthrough that you can. It shows the character walking around, at least through this prototype right now. I am meeting a little bit of hardware issues when it comes to fully developing multiple prototypes in one map. So I've had to change it to where I'm developing different maps that you can jump to. But we're still in the process. I have someone I'm working with that, and as time progresses, they'll be doing more of the coding stuff as well, and it will help with developing that. But at this point, that's again a part of the whole contribution side of it. Is this is not only something we want to do to market our indoor community farm centers, we want to utilize this software, which we're using the Unity engine, which is a game development engine. We're using that to actually build these worlds and build this application. And in the future,
Right.
we would love to use this for farmers and ranchers who can't really afford all the bells and whistles, can't afford to go to school to learn this stuff. And we can come along with our kind of farm sponsorship program and pay for a little time for our developers to sit down with them and say, what do you want? And then we have custom layouts and stuff that we can just kind of throw stuff we've already built together. And I mean, most land is going to look the same. Most farming practices that we're going to utilize and people are going to utilize are going to be the same kind of layouts and whatnot. And we can even make it to where they're contoured and different design patterns if somebody wants a custom design layout. And we can even do that as a service, and we will do that as a service for those who can afford it. But again, it's not so much like we're socialist or communist company. It's more or less we've learned different things, and I personally have learned different things from different parts of our society when it comes to sharing and being a part of a community. And that's all I want to implement is using these digital renderings. It really is about opening people's eyes to what the possibilities are. So if you can walk somebody around in a digital 3D model like this, you can really help them physically see, hey, this is what you're talking about, and not just leave it up to their imagination. You can give it to them, put it in their imagination right away. So
Well, right, and even in the stages of planning for specific buildings within specific cities in this country, once they've made a serious commitment and either stepped up with their own funding or a specific project got created to be funded through the N.A.S.F, then those models are going to be customized for the exact building where this project will be housed, right?
exactly, and then that's going to be something for the future. Is after we've accomplished specific indoor community farm centers in specific areas, and we've already done those prototypes, and then we've implemented them, we can then go through. Excuse me. We can then go through and reprogram the things that we actually did in real life and how we've modified those prototypes, and then we'll have a standing virtual image of our physical buildings. And that way you actually not only have possible prototypes, but you have real working facilities that people can go experience. And then this is the whole point of community funded agriculture. If we do it this way and utilizing the software the way we're talking about right now, there's a huge potential for young people in a school to get together and share this with their families, share this with their friends, share this with their local government, and then everybody can truly see the potential of rotting buildings around their property, around their food deserts. Because there's so many young people right now that are growing up in inner cities that have no grocery stores. A lot of people need to understand that. There's no grocery stores within an hour. What the heck? Like, it scares me
Wow.
that we in the United States of America have these food deserts in these inner cities, and we expect for them to be sane. We expect for them to be stable. We expect for them to raise their family healthily. It's just I'm really concerned about it. So, that's where a lot of this comes from, and I think community support and creating an image that communities can really hold on to. That's why I started doing the virtual stuff. That's why I invested my time and my money in learning coding and learning programming and getting into game development, because I saw this software and I'm like, this is like way more than just a video game designing software. This is the future of video um, production. Like this is literally the an advanced video production machine. The biggest thing is you can't use real stuff as far as what I've seen. I know you can take real life imaging and layer it over, but that's the
Well,
only
the incredible
disconnect.
thing is it's hard for someone to really understand. Oh, an indoor farm center.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard for the visualizations to come there because it's not something you see all the time.
I
And
don't. Yeah,
especially up in the upper Midwest where you're buried under foot of snow in half the winter, and farming isn't typically possible here. you know,
yep.
but it can be.
And that's it, 100%. I mean, when you have areas even that are covered in snow, all like most of the year, there's no reason these kind of buildings can't serve as a sanctuary. I mean, as humans, we are animals and we need nature, and so one of the things that I'm really interested in with these indoor farm centers is the concept of creating nature paths or nature walks, and especially with malls. That's my biggest target is malls and shopping centers with buildings that connect, and that we have approval from the cities or the municipalities, and we have approval from different investment groups or ownership groups. And even if we only own one building in that whole shopping center, everybody else is like, nah, we're on board, go ahead, do the model, do the layout. Because one, we're covering those kind of costs, we're incurring those responsibilities and taking on the leadership role to where all they have to do is just follow in suit. So we can go into places once we've fully established this in one shopping center or one mall. We can go into all these places across North America, especially up in the Midwest and up north, and completely revamp these community centers, because that's what malls and shopping centers were meant to be. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like that we have a whole section of our culture in America that's just material capitalism, and buy this, buy the new latest greatest, and that's where our social center was. But I'm not here to judge. I'm not here to say that was wrong. There's a lot of things that I went through at malls as a kid growing up. It was a social center point for my town that I grew up in, and I think that everybody experiences things for a purpose. So, is it a bad thing? No, it's just not serving a purpose anymore, and that's proof in the fact that these places are sitting with nothing in them. Like there's nothing happening. There's no potential. There's no offers on the board besides sell it for cheaper, and somebody trying to scavenge on the bottom and get those, the bottom feeder kind of people, and I think that's what I'm here to really do with this whole thing is get it fully established, get our farm side running where we've got content videos, we've got classes going in the areas that were established, and this isn't even with the indoor farm centers, and then we're also doing different live stream Q&As. We're helping the community as far as the whole country or the world with, hey, you want us to give a talk with a video session, you do an interview and you're out in India. I don't speak Hindi. I don't speak the dialects of that area, but if you can speak English, I am down to have a conversation and point you in the right direction. And I am not an educated farmer in the sense of I've been farming for so long, I grew up in farming. No, I am from a city area, a kind of bunch of towns together that created a small city. I was supposed to go and be a doctor or lawyer and do AP classes, and I saw the world was something was wrong, and I ended up getting sick, and I realized how much food is a part of what's wrong with the world. And from then on, I'm just like, I have to learn about this. I have to get involved, and that's where I became, into amateur mycology. I've identified over 50 mushrooms since I've gotten into that 3 years ago. I now have over 20 different tissue samples and spore, which is seeds. I've got a bunch of... Oh, here, you ready for this? So this was an experiment. This is an experiment with chicken manure. This is green onions that I grew using chicken manure and clay-based soil. So this is one of my first experiment garden beds. We went back to the place, and this is what I grew. Like, I'm just like, from the ground, that's how tall they are, and I'm 5'4". So hate to admit how short I am, but it's amazing. And I got seeds from this. So this is native established green onion, hasn't been watered for a year, completely came back and blew up. I didn't do this, the chicken manure did it. You know? It's just amazing. I don't even live on the property anymore. And that's basically what we want to show. We want to show crazy things that happen. I mean, I've got this here. I got to grab this too. Hold on. I'm getting off topic. We'll wrap it up in a second.
This is great.
So this right here, this is a giant, look at that, it's as big as my face. These are almond button mushrooms. They grow in equine manure, equine substrate. Just look how big that thing is. This thing is edible, and it helps cure depression. Like, and nobody eats them. They grow wild all over the place here in Texas. Nobody even knows what they are. And it's amazing. But so with the indoor community farm centers, it's really just this inspiration, this passion I have. It's almost like a conquest. Taking over these places that need economy, the building needs to be taken care of and established. Putting in these farming practices, creating a community center around that practice, and then inspiring people to be passionate about these things. I mean, I'm just getting, like, I mean, it's been 5 years that I've been getting into this, but I wasn't raised in this. This wasn't something that, like, was just, I should be a farmer because this is what I was taught. No, I got passionate about this because it saved my life. Like, eating right has saved my life. It's made me healthier. It's made me happier. I go through less pain every day, and it's just, it's important for all of us. So I didn't mean to go on a whole rant there. I do have some more pictures on the slideshow that I can touch on, and then we can go ahead and be done with the Indoor Community Farm Center topic there, if you'd like.
Well, no, I love it. I also did want to mention that when you were sharing it with me in the past, with all the different angles of it, it really is something that is going to bring the community together as a new place. Like you were talking how the malls, it was a big part of the social aspect, and same as me. I got dropped off at the mall to, hang out with some friends from school or go see a movie and get picked up, and yeah, it served its purpose. I think it's time that repurposing brings it back. Something like this idea in some of these locations, especially the couple that we've talked about.
Yes.
And the cities that we've spoken to are very receptive, very excited, and want to see this happen. And it's going to bring in the community in all aspects.
Yes.
With the education that you touched on, but also the community stepping up and sponsoring some of these events for these classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the grow towers, and so that they can come in and learn from this, and special events. It's going to be something where the community comes together. I think you even talked about possibly having like farmers market type things,
right.
As that be a center location for that, especially in the first target one. They have expressed an interest in wanting to start to do that. I know in some cities these farmers markets are really starting to grow.
Yeah.
Right. Like exponentially.
Yes.
Like I've heard that some of them are literally doubling in size over the last 3 years.
No, in some space they don't even have enough space approved to actually keep growing. And that happened out here in Austin, Texas. There's one that, I don't know if it's a mismanagement issue, and I'm not going to say the exact one, but it's almost like they hit a cap and they just won't accept more. And they don't want too much competitive industry. They won't let you come in if they have too many booths to fill, instead of just expanding their space and then saying, okay, we need this many different varieties of this many different kinds of things, and then opening up new slots. Because I see it as a systematic approach. Like, the more parking lot space you have, the more farmers market space you have, and there's no reason one day.
Even some of those farmers who bring their stuff to market, especially up here in the Midwest, they're all hibernating in the winter. I'm sure some of
Yeah.
them have greenhouses.
Yeah.
Of course they do, but you know, some of these projects are really incredible, like paradigm shifting for some of these communities on the way,
Right.
you just watch it bring some of these together. I really look forward to seeing the progress on it. I'm really excited.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad we've had a chance to really talk about it, and I know you're a huge supporter in it, and we again, like, we've already raised over $300 in contributions, and it's only been a week, and that's not really promoting it. That's just people
Right.
who we've reached out to kind of express, like, hey, we want to get ready to promote this, and it's like, well, this is awesome. We need to get this going, and that's exactly what we're looking at is community coming together to create something new. That's the only way we're going to get this done, when it comes
And
down
there's
to
so many different
the
layers of it.
masses.
It's not your traditional crowdfunding. Uh,
Right.
you're doing it in all different aspects. Even I was interested in how you're doing the apparel as well to crowd fund, not just contributions, but actually in the store. Can you bring that up as well?
Yeah, I can.
Some neat stuff you have there too. So I mean, there's different opportunities and different ways for people to get involved, and they can even sport some pretty cool little apparel to help out as well.
Yeah, certainly. Do you want me to just show the vertical beds and the solar panels on the roof, or are you good with the pictures?
Yeah, we had a pretty good chance to walk through that, and
Okay.
hopefully people will get more involved and visit the website, and if they're interested in or have a specific location in mind that
Yes.
may hold a lot of potential for you, then that's when you get together and you discuss the feasibility of that, because those models would take quite a bit of time to adapt to a specific location. So there'll be a feasibility period, obviously, to make sure this is going to be a fit.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but that one you have there is kind of like a mock-up. Even that is something that could be built.
Yes, and that's what I was saying. It's really like a guerrilla style indoor community farm center, where any building that's just four walls, and at least over 10,000 square feet, like, we can utilize and establish. That's not exactly the measurements of that building. I don't have the exact dimensions to that building. It was built within its own dimension, basically. So I didn't
Right.
actually use a realistic measurement, so I can clarify. But that's what we will be doing is we will be taking direct dimensions from buildings and implementing them into the prototype design and doing it completely where it's a stage step-by-step thing. And that's also something where I'm going to be doing live streaming content and video content with the farm on the YouTube channel, and we're also testing out Twitch right now and working with that to see if we can do some live streaming content with that. But this is some of the stuff that will be live streamed and will be on video content that you can revisit and see as like a classroom setting or as a learning experience where you're getting kind of a rough workshop, seeing somebody go through the different things with the failures and the successes or the errors of programs and what can happen all the time with this kind of stuff in the tech world. And so that way.
But this is the ground floor opportunity too for people to contribute and become, you know, I mean, it is kind of rewarding to say, oh, I was one of the first ones to help that get rolling.
Right.
So there's the
Yeah.
chance to get in on that and really be a pioneer, part of helping make this happen. So again, that is N.A.S.F.life. Go there, check it out. And now, is that where they find the ability to contribute through purchasing some of the N.A.S.F apparel that you have out as well?
Actually, we have the reselling shop up, and here I'm gonna go ahead and share the merchandise screen. But we do have the retail shop up, and I can actually switch over to that. And those are gonna have different items. That shop's gonna have different items on it. And here, this is the North American Sustainable Farm page, and then you have the shop button up here, and that goes ahead and brings you. This is just the resell store. Um, what we will do is we will have an option link to the like an optional link to the merch store, and the merch store is actually hosted through Shopify right now. So I'll hop over here, and you can see this is going to be the actual merch store, And so far, we've got an accessories category, a clothing category, and a home product category. So the reason we did this is for both of them, the reselling store and the merch store. Look, the whole contributions and community funding thing, that's the long term goal. It's not for us to have that money either. Again, the 10% going towards sponsored farmers is just the starting thing after we raise $10,000. Once this ball gets rolling and we have profits that are sustainable from our actual practice of farming and the community classes and things like that, that a percentage of that money is all going to start going to contributions right away. But the goal is to make that be a main part of our contributions, like a huge, substantial amount of money going from the profits of the actual farming organization to the contributions, which in turn will go more and more as we progress to sponsoring other farmers. So the contribution aspect is not meant to be a long-term way of North American Sustainable Farms keeping its doors open. It's meant to get it going and then to turn it into a program that sponsors future farmers. So the long-term goal is 100% of contributions go towards campaigns that develop and better the community and sponsor future farmers. Not to pockets of any of the workers, not to pockets of any of the shareholders, not to anybody's pockets at that point. And we're thinking...
Well, because these endeavors are going to actually be for profit. I know
Right.
you had told me that you're going to have a non-for-profit entity within those indoor farms, but you know, the these endeavors will be for profit, so the farms will be paying for their own employees
Right, and that's what I
and
mean.
to share even for the investors that are sitting on this empty building as an incentive is look, there's a startup period, but after that, based on your square footage and creating this model, then you're able to show we are estimating to be able to grow this amount, which translates into this much. Here's our costs. Here's what we're looking at.
Right, and currently we're working on the breakdown as far as our profit evaluation to square footage and what we would need tit for tat. At this point, we do have a breakdown for the contribution campaign, though, at this moment for $8,000 to $10,000, and then after that, what the percentage allotment is to get things going. And right off the bat, one of the projects that we're looking at, we do have an opportunity to lease out of the building, but the cost of the leasing is exponentially high. And that's because it's a retail space. There's a different numbers game that's going on for these older properties that are zoned as retail. And that's how the investment groups have put it into place and are used to doing that. So they can't really play that game. What we can do to come is, sorry about that. What we can do is we can come in and the game we can play is purchasing the properties. So off the bat, one of the first projects we're already looking at, we either need $300,000 for a smaller building or about $1 million for a full-size shopping center building that's a huge storefront in a larger shopping center area that we can then grow and work with the other owners and investment organizations to develop that shopping center in the way we're saying as a community center overall, not just the one building but the whole area, to be a hub for community development and farmers markets and healthy lifestyle. So with that,
And that's an incredible space. So I hope that
yeah, I pray hard on that one.
Target on that.
Yeah, I pray hard on that one. And that's what I mean is, so with the contributions, that's where it gives us the chance for that to just happen overnight. It gives us the chance for this to grow into a viral thing, like how crowdfunding, things like GoFundMe and Indiegogo, capitalize off of. The difference is the reason why we're not using those platforms is because we want to grow as a platform to crowdfund farming. So once we get through even this initial funding for the first building setup, whether it's $300,000 or we go towards the I think it's $900,000 is another building we're looking at. Depending on what it is, and that will constantly be transparent. We'll be communicating it with the community, and we'll honestly even ask for feedback through the live streams and through the content. We'll always be working on interacting and getting everybody involved and saying what they think we should do and how we should grow. Because there could be that one person who's either a leader in their municipality or a leader in an investment group, and they could just say, hey, come over here and do it. And do it now. We don't need the money for the building. Just do it. We'll give you 2 years. That's a real possibility, and that's why we're officially doing this as a campaign. Like, this is almost like a political campaign, and I'm trying to run for president or something. Actually, I couldn't run for president, but I'm trying to run for like a mayor seat or something, you know, or a mayor on a village municipality board. Um, because it's a political campaign to change agriculture in our society. I mean, people are already doing it. I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm simply combining different pieces of different types of wheels and making a kind of universal wheel that can be implemented in many different ways and implements different kinds of practices. And one of those ways is also utilizing other people's stuff, like different aquaponics systems, different companies that may install aquaponics systems as well as do classes. We are really looking into partnering with some of these businesses, so we're not just umbrella style. This is our patent. This is our way of this is our. No, we are a networking organization for farmers. That is first and foremost. We build community and we build family. That's it. You know, so I mean, again, I'll jump over to this merch page and I'll show you that again real quick. You can see some really cool items, and this link will be on the website here. I'm going to be actually finishing that tonight. And you've got shirts, towels, coffee mugs, hats, all sorts of stuff here. And it's trying to hot page, yeah. So it's just one more shirt over here. And we've got some kids' shirts as well.
I saw a couple of them. They're pretty cool. So
Yeah.
it all helps and it all adds up.
Right, and again, the reason we did this, and we've also
I swag funds ag. See?
yeah, I like that one a lot. And going back, here's the resale page. You know, this resale page again, it's just like going to Walmart and buying things. They're a reseller. Amazon is even a reseller. So what we do is we take some products that we love, we utilize, and we put them up on our resale page. And we're also going to be doing affiliate links through our content, the content we create. That you can go through and click on that and support. There's going to be so many different ways you can support. And again, you can always just contribute, but we don't want to. I mean, 100% right now, I'm not doing this campaign to just make money for my family, but we need to make money. That's the way the world works.
I think we can already see you're doing everything possible to make this dream happen, and it will take some help. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that.
On board. Sure.
And I thank
Well,
you for being on board.
I think we probably got to jump into our second segment here. Really great stuff, though. Really great stuff. And again, check out N.A.S.F.life. Spend a little time there looking around. Get yourself some swag and help support ag.
Yeah.
So here we go with our segment 2 is check this out. And I have some things today for you, Thrice, to check out.
Okay.
Funny that we're doing this episode today because I took a little trek through the forest today. Where do I have these? Let me share. I'm going to share some photos with you.
Okay.
What do you think this is? You see that?
Oh, I'm only seeing your camera right now. Oh, there it goes. Whoa, that looks like
you ever seen one of those? That is a 3-headed dandelion, my friend. That is 3.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty wild.
So did you get a picture of the leaf? Because there's variations of wild lettuce that look a lot like dandelion.
Let's see if I have another one. Oh, just the top. But you can see how they're going to have the seeds that blow in the wind, and you can see the other dandelions kind of on the side there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely looks like a dandelion. Yeah, wow, look at those teeth. Yeah, that does look like dandelion leaves.
Pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, wow. It looks like a bunch of dandelions kind of grew up together almost. And then some of them like mixed and had a Siamese twin.
That's all one stalk.
Wow.
It's all one fat piece of stalk. Yeah. I tried to get a couple good photos there, but that's pretty good.
Yeah,
And
it looks
this,
crazy. That's a
now
mulberry.
this, well, that's the, I think this is the stinging nettle that you and I discussed.
Oh,
To
it
where
almost
if
looks
you
like
rub
mulberry
against
leaves.
it really burns your hand and feels like there's little needles in there.
Okay, that really looks like mulberry leaves.
Now, what did you tell me about stinging nettle?
Stinging nettle. How big is that? Like, is that like, would you say a quarter size for the leaves?
Oh yeah, it is hard to tell relative. I should have maybe
Yeah.
stood next to it. That's almost as tall. That's almost as tall as my knee already. See if I have another photo. I got ahead of myself there.
Yeah. It almost honestly like it almost looks like an ivy.
Oh, there, I can zoom in. Yeah, no, that's
It's
those
kind of
leaves. If you
nettle.
brush that across your hand, boy,
It's
it feels
definitely a
like a
nettle.
million needles.
Yeah, it's definitely a nettle. You can tell because you see all the white hairs.
Yeah.
Those white hairs, it definitely means it's a nettle. Huh, interesting. Because usually it's kind of more of like a heart shape. Yeah, the ones at the bottom look more like stinging nettle.
So now you say this is a superfood?
Yes, stinging nettles. Most nettles are superfoods. Like they're like super herb, more or less.
And now you had mentioned mushrooms a few times. Ta-da!
Yeah, look at that. That's a morel mushroom. How pretty is that? That's so cool. So they started popping up, huh? Look at
Yeah.
that.
Just within days, it's boom, there they are.
Yep.
Now,
That's
what are
crazy.
these? Do you know what these are?
Um, little brown mushrooms are. There's such a variety. It kind of um looks like I think they're stropharia.
I broke
Yeah,
that piece
book.
off to kind of show what the inside looked like. I broke it. I actually just barely touched it and it broke off. It fell off. There's two right next to each other there.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 2 or 3 different species that I would think of to look at, but that it could be a variation. It
But
could
don't
be
go
anything.
eating those without further investigation, huh?
No, no, most.
Okay.
Yeah.
But these, I'm told, are a delicacy.
Oh my gosh, yes, those are a delicacy, super expensive delicacy, 100%.
Okay, and then I have this. This is growing off of a cut off tree stump that I cut off a couple years ago, and I just left the stump. So it's hard to tell the relativity of how big it is, but that stump's a couple feet wide. So what kind of mushroom is this?
It is either a hen of the wood or oh man, where's my book? It's called the deer mushroom, I want to say, or deer
Well, I'll send
something.
these to you. Let me know
No,
because
yeah, but
yeah,
here,
this is
just
definitely
give me a second, real quick.
sure.
I'll run away and never come back.
It's flat like a pancake. I should have got another photo kind of showing how wide it looks. Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
Well, somehow I misplaced my book that I always have right here so I can reference it. But I harvested some mushrooms that look just like that, and they're I forget what it's called. It's like deer hoof or something like that. But it's either that or it's hen of the wood, and those are both edible. But the biggest thing is you got to see the bottom, so you can't really tell a mushroom from the top. Like some mushrooms you can, but you always want to see the bottom, and then you always want to get a spore print. You always want to know the smell. Sometimes the taste, depending on how it is. But like looking at the stump there, like if that's a waxy surface where your mouse is, it could be a kind of reishi mushroom. So there's like just so many factors when it comes to identifying mushrooms. Like it's really hard to just look at a picture and know exactly what it is.
I'll try to get some underneath photos
All right.
maybe tomorrow and get them sent over to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
curious to know.
And that's
You
another
got
thing
me
is
exploring my own wilderness here.
well, and that's another thing is with the content videos that we're going to be putting out, it's helping people identify what's in their front and backyard so they can start to eat what's around them instead of having to always rely on as I dare I say, at farms and grocery stores. I mean, you have to rely on them for some things.
Right. Now, how about these? These are growing off of a stick.
I mean, they honestly look like a type of oyster mushroom, but you have to be careful. Oyster mushrooms have gills. I've actually got a couple wild oyster varieties here.
Oh, this one got blurry. It was starting to get dark by the time I
So see, like,
actually finished my little trek through the woods.
this is a wild native oyster
Oh,
mushroom.
hold on, let me go back then to
Kind of hard to show that off. Got a mosquito that's attacking me too.
huh.
But yeah, there's there's larger oyster mushrooms. Like, oyster mushrooms are generally easy to identify, but you have to look at the gill structure again, and then you have to make sure it has a pale to white spore print. But
Okay, so everyone needs to do their research before they just start munching on the mushrooms they find out in their woods. Okay?
yeah, pretty much. I mean,
It's a
it really
disclaimer.
should be a cultural thing. Like, there's some cultures that kind of laugh at people in the United States. Like, how do you not know what mushrooms are edible? Because it's just ingrained in other cultures. That's a beautiful moral. Look at those.
There's my harvest from today then. Now, how
Wow.
come there's a couple that are like tan more than they are beige?
It
Like
just has to
these
do
two
with
here.
sunlight usually. Generally,
But they're okay. I mean, they're as good as the other ones as far as eating or cooking.
yeah. I mean, are the darker ones drier?
Possibly.
That could be another reason.
They were in more shade for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, either they're drier. I mean, the biggest thing is if you smell it, it smells like mold. It smells bad, rancid. You don't want to eat it. There's too many bugs. A lot of people don't like bugs. I'm kind of like, I really don't give a crap. If maggots are inside a mushroom, then it's just maggots. Especially if you cook it. But generally, the rule of thumb is smell it. If it smells bad, it's bad. If it looks like there's mold, it's bad. If it smells like a morel mushroom and it's just dry, then that's what you're looking at. Is you're looking at an aged color. But also, morel mushrooms just vary. I've seen them. There's a black morel, and you could have like a couple varying strains of genetics in your area. You know what I'm saying? That's how
Got it.
complicated it is. Like, it's not just
Right.
you have one kind of morel mushroom growing everywhere. It's you have a variation of genetics of morel mushrooms, just like how you have different families of squirrel or different families of robins in your area. They're not all the same exact one. There may be like a certain color variation on one family lineage. We just don't get to see it all the time. Where mushrooms, they fruit and we see them. They're right there. They appear out of
Right.
nowhere. But
So definitely encourage everyone if you're interested in that to do your research
right.
and know what you're doing.
Yeah, and also we are working on the website page, Our Mushrooms, to have links to complete written out descriptions of safety procedures with specific kinds of mushrooms, because there's shelf, polypore style mushrooms, and there's shelf gill style mushrooms, there's oyster mushrooms. That's a whole topic in itself that I didn't realize was so advanced, and most people just don't pay attention to it. They don't talk about it. Mushroom gurus don't even share the information about wild oysters and how much variety there is, and how to identify things that you can't find them online. You're looking online and there's literally no picture, or you get the same picture labeled 4 different ways. And it takes an actual mushroom book encyclopedia, which I have one. I literally was trying to find it, and I'm like, where the hell did it go? But yes,
But
you need to be safe.
It's also a little therapeutic, getting out there with nature and just even exploring around. And I mean, I've lived here for a while, and there's just some things until discussing with you, I didn't even pay attention to what mushrooms are growing around. So,
Right.
it gets
It's
you out
awesome.
there and expands your awareness and getting in tune with your environment and nature, and pretty cool.
Well, I appreciate it, and I'm glad I could have that impact. And I pray that North American Sustainable Farms, has that impact upon more people than I can imagine. And that's
Right
all I'm
on.
doing is I'm tired of keeping this vision to myself. I'm tired of keeping this dream to myself. I'm tired of thinking I have to do it by myself. There's all these people out there who are funding these really interesting lives, and at this point, I feel like maybe I have one of those interesting lives, and all I can do is do it. So we'll be making profits and making money through the standard approaches, through what we're going to be selling, and again, the resale store, the merchandise store. So we're not just completely relying on the contribution campaign. What we're relying on is people getting involved. That's really the biggest thing. However that is, we know not everybody's going to be able to contribute. So it comes down to, let's build this family, let's build this community, whatever you can do. And so I really appreciate you doing the interview with me. I appreciate getting a chance to get this all recorded, get it out there, and I'm excited because this is literally the first interview, and I've got a list. Tomorrow I'm doing a bunch of calls and emails, and it's happening. It's getting rolling. We've already gotten contribution money. The biggest thing is once we start getting sales with the merchandise and the resale and stuff, then it's, because in the resale store, again, we will have our own products, so it doesn't matter what you buy from there. It's still going to help us move forward. So.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. Good stuff, man. I can see some 432, brother.
Thank you. It's awesome.
I love
Awesome.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, third segment. We got a third segment called
All
Art
right.
from the Heart. And in this
Awesome.
segment, again, I'll put the offer out there. Viewers, send us some of your artwork, and we'd love to maybe show some of your art from the heart. But what I have today are two pieces I ended up coming across at a resale shop, and they caught my eye, and I just was kind of captivated. And here's one.
Nice.
Nice little piece. Those are actually hearts. It's like a heart
Right.
shape.
That's awesome.
What I'll do is I'll edit some stills up onto the screen too. But
Okay.
yeah,
Awesome.
I don't know who this is. It's not signed, but I certainly appreciate it.
It's so
You're a
amazing.
wonderful, wonderful artist.
It's
This
amazing
is
what we
yours.
can.
Please let us know. We'll give you credit.
Yeah. It's amazing what we can find when we're just paying attention to what other people think is like waste. You know.
Right. Well, I mean, I do artwork myself, and I'd hate to think that one day some of mine will just end up in a resale shop. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it the love that it was given when it was made by appreciating and showing it here. Look at this one.
Awesome. Look at
Yeah,
that.
pretty cool. Like little birch trees with a heart carved in them. I don't know if you can see the name. Again, I'll throw a couple stills up.
Yeah.
But,
That's awesome.
they really are. They're full of color. They just capture my eyes. I mean, I look at it.
Right.
I appreciate it. So that's today's art from the heart from the unknown artist.
Awesome. Awesome. There's probably so much of that out there too, where it's just, you know, not even just resale shops, but just being just trashed, And I guess we're meaning kind of like thrift shops, like at an actual physical location, more or less. Because even online, like a lot of people don't resell stuff like that. They don't see value in it at all, unless it's got some artist name attached to it. It's not about how pretty it is, or how
Right.
the expression inside of it. Unfortunately.
Right.
So, but that's
Well,
awesome.
I like the vibration it had,
Yes.
so it came home. It came home with me now.
Right.
I hang up in my foyer.
Awesome. Awesome.
So yeah, every show we're gonna try to get the community involved and share some artwork.
Cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really cool. I think that has a potential of really sparking into something. Again, like we're saying, where people, who may not have a name to their art and have this whole backing, they can actually share their stuff and get the appreciation and the respect it deserves. And people can even ask them to make them one and put it up in their house. And then, I don't know. I feel like art, music, any kind of creative practice is really going to be the future of economy. Once automation hits, it's going to be about being human. You know, it's,
Right, right.
and not going into the virtual worlds all the time. Staying
Yeah.
here a lot of the time because this is
Well,
important.
hopefully we're going to be getting some musicians on the show too. And actually, on our YouTube channel, I have some playlists of some Love Jar favorites. Then you can play those playlists, and also some featured video content of some other positive messages we came across, some other things we wanted to feature, as well as our watching our 432 show episodes. We got a couple other shows possibly in the works too. Thrice and I might be working on kind of a regular hangout show, which I'm excited.
Right.
So stay tuned for that. And yeah, definitely want to thank you for sharing everything you're doing on the show here. And again, invite everyone to visit Thrice at North American Sustainable Farms, N.A.S.F.life.
Yep. Yeah, and I thank you again for taking the time to do this. And I'm really excited. I'd love to, you know, redo this a couple times as far as being able to come on, talk about the progression, talk about different things going on, maybe different interviews that have led into other conversations, and so we can just focus more on that positive energy when it comes to creating, family around our agriculture, because it's not just about North American Sustainable Farms. It's about agriculture as a whole across the world. Like that's what we're creating a family around. It's not just a family around North American Sustainable Farms. So it's a family around the 432 show. It's a family around all sorts of positive, loving things in the world. That we know. Hey, we're on the same level. So, let me know what you're into, and maybe there's something I can help with because we're all working
Well,
together to help each other.
that's the perfect fit, man. Both trying to be a source of unity, brother. Yeah,
Right. Right. Awesome. Well, I
yeah,
appreciate it again.
excellent. And thank you, everyone, for visiting our show and being with us today. Stay tuned, give our channel a like, and make sure you catch our next episode. All right. Thanks again, Thrice. We'll talk to you soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Love and peace.
Love and peace.